Welcome to the Guide, Not Guru podcast. I'm your host, Kelly Brock. My purpose is to empower women to create authentic, aligned, and abundant lives. After over a decade of mentoring women in business and self-leadership, I found that we don't need to adopt a guru's blueprint. We need guides to help us build our own. So if you're ready to lead and be a work in progress, you've come to the right place. So when it comes to business and entrepreneurship, one of my favorite things to talk about is personal branding. And I want to walk you through some of the major mistakes that I see people making when it comes to branding, in my opinion. And if you were to shift these mistakes into some new truths, I think it would really shift the way that you are owning your personal brand in business, online, in real life. So let's dive in. So first of all, let's talk about what branding really is. So when I talk about branding, especially personal branding, I think it's one of the best things that you can do is to build a personal brand. And a brand is your values made real in the things that you do with your work, your life, your energy, and your effort. And your brand is really what people are saying about you and feeling about you when you're not in the room. Your personal brand is this beautiful mix of both your, humanity, the person that you are, the specific energy that you bring, mixed with your expertise, mixed with, maybe your business that you bring in the world. The brand is this whole 360-degree you. And I love bringing a personal brand into life and business because what I fundamentally believe is that big corporations and big companies and, big company brands, what they need is to bring humanity into it. And so if you're an entrepreneur, if you are a woman in business, you are already a human, and it's the thing that sets you apart. And so I want to talk about a few of the mistakes that you might be making that are keeping you from a really, really powerful brand. So the first mistake that I see women making in business is they are trying to fit themselves into the business, the company, the product, the service, the network marketing company, even the program. They try to fit themselves into that thing rather than fitting that thing into them. And you define who you are first. You define what the values are that matter to you. And then you decide where your business fits in with this. So I did this wrong and I did this right in the beginning. And I'm going to give you an example. So when I first started my network marketing business, I looked around and was like, okay, how do we do this? And I, said, tell me the blueprint and I'll do it. And everyone was marketing themselves based on the company. So I did that for years. I was like, here's my network marketing product, my company, our company values, all of the things. And it was hard to see where I was in it. And in the last few years, while I was in that network marketing business, I started just saying, I feel like I need to authentically express. And so what ended up happening was I started talking about real things that were happening in my life. I started to share the books that I was reading. I started to create clubs, and I had book clubs, and I started to talk about my mental health and the things that I was learning in personal growth. And I started to talk about the courage to change, and I started to be myself online. And in those last few years, I really had no idea that I was leaving my network marketing business, but what I did set me up for success. What I ended up doing was being myself so authentically and clearly online that when I left my network marketing business, within 5 weeks of me launching an offer, I had a very first program. It was 2 months after I left my network marketing career, which, if you all don't know this, I burned the whole bridge. I was like, I would like to terminate myself. I do not want to be connected with the company anymore. I dropped all of my income. I had no repeat customers. And when I left, I had not one signed client. And I said, I'm just going to give myself over to this new business that I want to do in leading and mentoring women. And so when I went to throw my first offer out there, which was a program called Anxious Achievers, I was like, we'll just see like if women are interested in this. And they were. And the reason I think I had like 33 or 34 people in my very first program. And I remember when women were coming to me later just saying like, how did you do that? Were you, collecting names and stuff before? And I was like, no. And I sat back and was like, what was I doing right? Like, how did this, other than God totally blessing me, how did this happen? And it's because I realized I had been building the brand of me for months and months and months and months. So by the time I made the offer to put my thing into the world was like, yeah, we've been waiting. I had been in the DMs. I had been creating real conversations. I had been talking about my truth. I had been being myself out loud. And so when I created this offer, it made sense. And then over the last 2.5, 3 years, actually it's 3 years since I walked away, January was. And so over the last 3 years, I've continued to evolve out loud. And so every time I go to create a program or do a new thing, it's not a shock to people because they've been like, yeah, we're growing with you. You're constantly showing us who you are. So a big mistake you could be making is pinning yourself underneath of the thing that you're doing. And I've got to tell you, you're going to change. And so if your identity is wrapped up in the product, the service, the company, or even this version of yourself, you're going to block yourself in. When I do brand builds with clients, we get on Zoom and I'm like, okay, I like physically take my hand. I'm like, imagine you're under container. I want you to take everything you've been selling off the table, every company you're a part of, all of it off the table for a second. And I just want to talk about you. Because if they talk about themselves in the context of that offer or that program, they start to limit themselves. And I'm like, okay, let's just set that to the side for a minute. And I want you to tell me about you. And all of a sudden, their superpowers about who they are and what makes them starts to show up. So, big mistake number one is you fit yourself into your business company product. I want you to shift that into the truth of saying, who am I? Who am I? Decide who I am first, define what I am first, and then I can see where my business fits into this. This is also why I joke that if I was called to be a farmer one day, like I'd go and I'd probably have people coming with me because I'm willing. I'm willing to continue to be my personal brand out loud. It probably won't be a shock to anybody. Okay. Mistake number 2 you might be making is believing that so many other people are doing the thing you're doing and asking yourself the question, like, what actually makes me different? You're thinking the market is saturated. You're like, someone's already a coach or someone's already created this book or somebody's already done this thing. First of all, newsflash, there's no new information out here. Like all of it is already here. But you are a 1%, a 0.001%. Like you are this unique, never to be repeated combination of a human. You may be contributing to a message that is collective. Yay. That's good. We need people to shift in the same direction in order to have real change. But there will never be anyone who delivers it the way that you do. We each come with our own combination of life experience and, personal passion or heartbreak or upbringing or education or background. I'm talking about authenticity. I'm not the first chick you've heard talk about authenticity. I guarantee it. I'm also not probably the first person you've heard talk about ego or to talk about branding or to talk about alignment with your values in life. I'm not. But what makes me me is the way that I bring it. Each of us has our own flavor. We have our own passion. We bring our expertise to it. And so you may not be the only one, but that's okay. Actually, when a market already has people doing what I'm doing, I go, good news. people are interested. They want that thing. They're willing to pay for that change. They're interested in these episodes. Good news. Let me contribute my expression of this into the world. And so the mistake you might be making is thinking so many other people are doing it and, there's nothing that really makes you stand apart. And the answer is there is. And it's going to be the unique combination of all the things that you bring together that makes you special, that makes you stand out. There are people who will hear me say things and will receive it. And then there will be other people who aren't going to resonate with the way that I bring it into the world, and that's okay. All right, next mistake you might be making is maybe you have thought about your brand or done some sort of a brand build or, clarity around your business and your life and your values and the things you stand for. And you make the mistake of believing that you just set it and forget it. The truth is, your brand is a living, breathing, expanding thing just like you are. And so you can't just fix it. It evolves just like you do. You're going to evolve and your brand should too. This year, I'm preparing actually right now for a branding program called The Brand. It's going to be a really fun, fast, and powerful branding program. And so anytime I'm about to hold something for the world and hold people in it, I hold it for myself first. Really brings me into a place of like power and authenticity before I do it. So I've been sitting with my own brand and I was sitting with these exercises that I'm preparing and I'm just like, oh shoot, like I've changed. Of course I have. The last time I did this was a whole year ago and I was a different person. I have this whole combination of life experiences that has been collected that's now made me shift and evolve and really brought some things that are important to me as front and center. If you listen to the last episode, or last two episodes, I was talking about like joy and my health. And like all of a sudden, this is a very leading thing in my life right now, feels important to me. And maybe a year ago when I did it, it wasn't as important. So it's important that you sit with your brand. I usually recommend twice a year really sitting with your values and with your goals and your dreams, and especially in your business, your brand. And so it's going to evolve as this unique expression of you. So it's not a set it and forget it. It is a sitting back down with it and saying, let me refine what's become real to me now, what's true to me now, especially as a personal brand. Like truly, there are values that are in my life that I didn't even know existed 2-3 years ago. Like, y'all, I'm talking about things like spirituality and consciousness and energy. I didn't even know about this 3 years ago. So if I had been like, well, I'm fixed, here I am, that's all there is. I'm even holding branding at such a different level because of what I understand now about business and impact and vibration. So you don't set it and forget it. You hold it, you refine it, you touch it again. Another mistake you might be making is that you're a multifaceted person. And so you're like, well, I'm all these things, so I guess I can just talk about everything. And branding is an exercise in clarity. Let me say this. I personally believe that branding is a responsibility if you see your work in the world as your mission. Like, I'm not here just to be an entrepreneur or to make money or just to be a speaker or just to have a podcast. Like, these are just the things that I've chosen to do to express my bigger mission in the world. My bigger mission is really to bring women into a place of, oh my gosh, like self-sovereignty, personal authenticity, personal empowerment, finding out who they really are, living a life that is aligned, and to watch the abundance that comes from that life alignment. It is my heartbeat. And so because it is not just the business and the way that I'm making money, it is my mission. It means my branding, my clarity is a responsibility because this isn't just affecting me. Every time I help empower a woman get clear on her branding, she all of a sudden has such focused energy into the thing that she's creating. All of a sudden, she gets such a level of empowerment that helps her to feel like, okay, I know exactly what I'm doing. And so you can't just talk about everything. I'm not just posting coffee cups or like, funny things about my kids or whatever just for the sake of it. When I have my personal brand online, I don't share everything. I don't share everything because everything is irrelevant. I share the things that I believe are valuable and important for the woman I'm trying to reach most. And so if you follow my stories or save my posts or listen to this podcast or come to my retreats, I'm sharing the things that I believe are a value add to you. And it doesn't mean that you hide the parts of yourself at all. Like, I'm silly and I read a lot and I post inspirational quotes and there are these things. But again, my question is always, who is this for and why do they care? Almost every time I'm posting something, I'm thinking, who is this for and why do they care? And so because I care so much about what I am contributing to the world, my brand is that important. Your brand is that important. If you really care about the clients that you're serving, the things that you're doing in your business, then it's important that you hold your brand with a sense of responsibility, because you cannot just talk about everything or people will get bored and tune out. You need to blend what it is that you do with who you are, with what you get paid for. Your biggest obstacle in the online space is noise. It is so noisy. There are so many people online. If you felt that way, you're right. You're totally right. And so your goal is clarity. And that brings me to the next mistake you might be making is you think, I've already talked about this so many times, I need to stop talking about it. Like, you may believe I've already talked about it once or I've already talked about these things, and you don't want to annoy people with the same message. And the truth is, you are who you say you are over and over again online. It's that simple. You have to choose what you want to be known for and say it over and over and over again. On any given day, gosh, someone can like message me with some real algorithm numbers because I'm not the, insights girl. On any given day, probably 7 to 10% of your active audience is seeing what you're posting. That means if you posted something gold in a caption, if you posted about your offer in your stories and I didn't catch it today, I missed it. You've got to be about your message over and over again. And again, that's why the branding is so important, because you've got to be about it consistently. Branding is an exercise in clarity. And so you have to be willing to say the same thing over and over again. You may say it differently, but you're still going to drive the same point home over and over again because it matters. Another mistake you might be making is believing that your branding is just online. And that could not be further from the truth. Wherever you go, no matter who you are, what you're doing, you are telling a story about yourself. When you are at home with your kids, when you are grocery shopping, when you're at a networking group, when you are leading a Bible study, when you are whatever, you're leaving behind an impression. And the more you become aware of who you really are and are you acting in agreement with those values in your life, online and off, then you're going to have this energy of self-empowerment and authenticity and alignment that's going to come. I know, I used to say I'm the same girl in my Chuck Taylors as I was in high heels. I used to say that all the time in like my network marketing business, because in meetings I would wear high heels. And when I was at home or coaching CrossFit, I was wearing Chuck Taylors. And it was like, I want to be the same person here and offline. It's shocking to me when people like meet me and they're just like, oh my gosh, like you're like who I thought you would be, but like, I didn't think you'd be this. It's like they're so used to, I I guess, what social media has given us the ability to do, which is to present a version of ourselves. Yes, we are multifaceted. But when you bring who you really are and you bring it consistently and you bring it in these bite-sized pieces that consistently over time are sharing and showing the you that you are, it's going to count. And so whether it's in person or offline, you are holding the brand and the vibration of you. And I think that's really important for you to embody at all times. And, there are parts of me that I don't share online because I value that in privacy. And that is also a part of my brand. I will go days at a time, like via social media, I'm out. That is also a part of the Kelly Brock brand. I'm an intuitively led business owner. My energy, one of my favorite mantras is like, if it costs me my peace, it's too expensive. I will do nothing at the expense of my peace. And so even the things that I keep back are for my peace because I'm telling you peace is my priority and I'm going to show you peace is my priority. Are you walking out the things that you say are important to you? Do you even know the values that are important to you? Are you living them in real life and are you expressing them online? Those two things should match. Another mistake you might be making that is costing you your power is worrying about what other people think. I remember I did this post one time. I wish I could remember exactly how I wrote it. But pretty much I said orgasm. I said the word orgasm in it. And I think it was something to the effect of that we get so good at faking it. We get so good at faking it online that we don't even know how to invite in the real thing. And that I got to a place in my business where I was tired of pretending and that I was like, I really want to experience all the bliss, all the good that my life and business can bring me. And I remember on that post, it was like my team and I were like watching the numbers. Like I was losing followers left and right because I said the word orgasm. Why I'm sharing this with you is because I started to gain just as many followers for that boldness. The more that you are yourself, I'm telling you, you are going to repel people. When I left my network marketing company, people were like, bye, 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 bye. And when I started talking about my courage to be myself, I had all these women saying, yes, 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 yes. And it is a good thing when you are authentically being yourself, people who you are not meant to serve anymore will leave. And the ones that are meant to find you, they will be saying, where have you been all my life? That's the kind of vibe you want. The more you will become more magnetizing, you will start to also become more repelling. The more you are yourself. You cannot stand out if you do not stand up for something. And there's nothing that people are really craving more, I believe, than something real online. We love the moments where someone's like, oh, tell me you're a human. Tell me you experience this. Tell me you get me. One of the greatest things that I work with women on, honestly, I really do believe it's one of the reasons I'm most sought after for branding is because of my ability to storytell authentically. That how can I share myself vulnerably in a way online? And again, the only stories I'm sharing are not for my benefit. They are self-expression examples so that you can see yourself in them too. Who is this for and why do they care? So the more that I have shared myself, I've had more people tell me, you're right, I'm not interested, I'm out. And it hurts at first. It hurts. And then all of a sudden you have the women who come into your DMs and say, thank you, I needed to hear that. And you start to feel what real connection is. If your clients are not converting, it's because you're not connecting. Hear me when I say that. If your clients are not converting, it is because you are not connecting. You are not bringing you to the table. When I would lead women in business before, I'm like, listen, I know 12 of you. I know 12 of you that teach this thing, lead this business, sell this product, whatever it is. The reason I'm wanting to buy from you, the only reason why your clients are wanting to buy from you is because of you. I could get health insurance with someone else. I could go to a book club with this person. I could buy this dang product on the website all on my own, but I'm following you. You are your superpower. And so that branding and understanding it's going to be repelling to some and it's going to be the most inviting, magnetic experience for others. It's a part of the game. It's a part of what you can come to expect as you build a really, really clear and powerful business. And the last, little mistake that I wanted to shift into is you may be making the mistake that you think branding is just for your clients. A lot of times we think branding, okay, I've got to get really clear so they know who I am, what I sell, what I do, what I bring to the world. One of the side effects, which is my favorite part actually about branding, it's one of the reasons why you will be more magnetic in selling, is because at the same time you are getting forced to get really clear on who you are. Listen to me, you're getting forced to get clear on who you are. One of the byproducts is that when you get into like branding exercises, like I'm going to be doing in this branding program, and gosh, any of the exercises, you could even just Google some branding questions. Like when you go through these questions, you are forced to answer things about yourself. You are forced to get clear. So when I go into, for example, a brand build with some of my clients, and they'll say, for example, oh, my brand is entrepreneurship. And I'm like, okay. So when you say entrepreneurship, you mean, business? And they're like, well, it's not really the business piece. It's more like freedom is what I value about entrepreneurship. Or they'll say, money. And I'm like, oh, okay. So it's really about money and net worth. And they're like, oh, no. It's not really money. It's more about the energy of abundance and money. What branding experiences bring you into is you're forced to get clear. I want you to imagine that you are inside of a pill bottle. You are inside the bottle. You are the answer to someone else. You are the prescription. You are the prescription for someone else's problem in their life. You are the solution. You are the release to their ailment, but you're in the bottle. One of the hardest things to see is what the label says on the outside. And so what you are forced to do, because you're inside your own internal experience. And so when you come into branding, what it allows you to do is to get asked the powerful questions that make you become really clear. And you start saying, oh, it's not that, it's this. It's not that, it's this. And the more that you are clear what it isn't, you are getting more powerfully clear on what it is. And what ends up happening is you build your belief in who you are and what you stand for and why it matters and what you want to be known for and why it counts and who it counts for and what you would create and what the colors and the words and the vibrations and the feelings and the tone. That's what ends up happening when you go through branding. So what ends up happening is you become so big in your belief about yourself that it's like contagious. I watch my clients go through the branding experiences, and they will then go into their stories and just like spit fire. They will start creating posts from such a place of authority because it's almost like they bought their own stuff. They drink their own Kool-Aid. They're like, that's it. You end up having this level of belief that makes it it's almost like, watch out, world. I'm done. Like, move out of my way. I know what I'm about. And what you're doing is bringing all the energy that was lost and dispersed everywhere, and you're bringing it into this laser focus. And that's where you start to feel the power, because you're about your own work. Your belief in yourself is so unmatched. And when you think about sales is really just a transfer of belief and value. And so you can sell anything because you're like, I know why I'm valuable. And I know why I believe in me. and I know why I believe in the thing that I'm bringing to the world, and you can't stop me. And beliefs, man, they move on their own. Ugh. I think I shared this already on here, but one of the most simple and yet powerful things you can do before I ever create an offer, I write 30 reasons or more. Why do I believe in this? Why do I believe in this? And I might be like going from everything from I've been through this and telling my own story, or I might be saying like, I believe in me, or I believe in my team, or I believe in this process. Like what happens is you start to build your own vibrational energy about your thing. And as soon as you believe in it, you show up differently. Beliefs, if you think of like the little wheel, it's like beliefs are the top. Soon as you believe something, you think differently. If you are watching the video, I'm doing a wheel. Soon as you think something, it makes you feel something. When you feel something, you take a certain action. When you have that action, it brings you to a certain result, and that result then confirms your belief. So the best thing you could be doing is bringing yourself to a level of belief. And when you go through branding exercises, what you have built for yourself is an untouchable, higher vibration of belief. So if this has been exciting you today, I hope that you will really sit with these mistakes and say, have I been buying those stories? Can I shift into these new truths today? And I want to personally invite you to a very fast and powerful program that I'm going to be doing called The Brand. I told you all this year, I'm bringing the programs that I really believe women need to elevate to a new level of their life. And The Brand is going to be one of those programs. And it is fast and furious because I'm going to have you saying, you've got to do it, do your homework, we're moving forward. You got to do it, do your homework, move forward. And you're going to have to prove to yourself who you are, what you stand for, what you're bringing to this world, your values expressed. And I want to tell you, my branding stuff is not colors. It is not fonts. Honestly, this program is not for the woman who is, it's not trends. This is like your values made real in your life. This is about who you want to be legacy-wise and what work you need to be creating in the world right now based on who you are right now. It is you getting so sure on yourself and the way that you would express that into the world that level of belief is untouchable. That's what the brand is going to be about. Your brand is you, and it's the best thing that you could bring yourself into reflection about because you are the one who sells your products. You're the one who markets to your people. You're the one who brings the messaging. You're the one who brings the vision. And if you are unclear on your brand, you are unclear on your path to success. And that's what I want to bring you all into. So in the show notes, we've got the details on how you can join so many of us in The Brand this next month. It's going to be incredible. And I encourage you, whether with me or someone else, to invest in getting clear on your brand because you're getting clear in your belief in yourself. Hey friend, thank you for listening. My goal is to empower as many women as possible. If this episode supported you in any way, I would love it if you'd leave me a review or let me know on Instagram. You can take a screenshot or tag me or just shoot me a DM. If you're looking for any kind of additional support, don't hesitate to reach out. See you here next Tuesday.